I always like to do the excited wonderment if we're actually going to go live. Ah, I think we're live.
Holy cow! God damn it, Skeeter!
And
We're live.
and no, I will never not have the surprised voice when we go live because it hasn't always worked out.
So Skeeter Green, who's this professional we have on here with us that makes us
We
look bad?
actually nabbed a legit RPG
What?
professional author. Okay, so John, first question. I'm going to cut through all the bullshit right here. Is there a difference between author and writer?
Hmm. No, same syllables. They're the
Cuz
same.
cuz I think there is a difference and it's all about pretension.
Oh, well, yes.
I
All right.
think
Authors
if
have the butt plug and writers do not.
I
Authors,
think
authors go to
writers,
Starbucks to write.
yeah, writers have had to like dig a ditch. You know, they've hammered nails. Authors, sit around and have tea and write great stories in the middle of forests that change the nation. I am
Yes.
an
Writers
author.
write.
All
Yes.
right, that soliloquy aside, we have author writer John Hook, who has recently, for Frog God Games, put out Orcus on 34th level.
It's a touching story that's going to change the United States. It's going to change the world.
You
It's a
you
loving story.
you don't know Zach. John, tell us what you can non-spoilery about Orcus on 34th level, which is my favorite Christmas show, by the way.
Well,
Oh, good.
Every year I watch the
as you
movie.
start, John, actually go back to when you got picked up for this. Like, how did you wind up writing something you probably didn't expect?
I totally did not expect this. I will say that. I am very good friends with Edwin Nagy,
We know him.
Strike
and
one.
strike one. Yep. I hang out with the worst of the worst, scum and villainy. Um, and so Edwin just reached out. I had done a one previous work for Frog God, the Blight of the Moonglow Glade, which is in the series with it's a play on the holidays, right? So
Arbor
mine
Day.
was mine was a play on Arbor Day, and where it started out because I thought Arbor Day is a ridiculous holiday because I when Edwin asked me if I would do one in the holiday series, and I said, well, if I'm going to do one, I'm going to do it on a ridiculous holiday like Arbor Day. I ended up really loving it by the end because I was like, wow, I could really play with druids in this. So, but fast
Wait till them
forward,
treants come up and start smacking you around. You'll
I
appreciate their
know,
day, man.
I know. Right, yeah, get out of here. Don't live in me. You can live with
Yeah.
me. Um,
You live in my brother, you shit. Shut your mouth.
he died. Uh, so yeah, Edwin just reached out to me completely. I had no idea that you guys are even thinking about doing a follow up on the Orcus Christmas one, and so yeah, Edwin reached out and said, "Hey, we're thinking about doing this follow up. Would you be interested in writing it?" And I was thunderstruck. I was just, yes, absolutely, please. And I mean, right from that conversation, I started having these ideas about, where would you take it? What do we do, to kind of make it a sequel? And so I started thinking about some of the different tropes in Christmas, and I kind of thought about Mrs. Claus, and so I thought, oh, let's have Orcus Claus trying to summon and bring from this realm that she's been trapped in, and have Mrs. Claus, Noel Claus, and get her back into this realm. And so that's the crux of this adventure: is you need to stop the summoning and don't let no hell get summoned.
That's awesome. I like
So,
it.
as a background of this, just so you know, is that the first Orcus' whole Christmas module was like literally Halloween 2 years ago, and I had like, hey, we should do a Christmas module. And I called James Spahn. I said, you have a week if we want to get it printed. You want to do this? And he said yes. and we had a really good response to it. And I was really excited because Blighted Moonward Blade is one of my favorite ones we've done this year. I just thought it was a well done
Oh,
module. I thought it was it had great art in it, and the story was it took the holiday module and did it in a really cool way. And so when Evan suggested that you do the follow up on the Orcs one, I was really excited about it. And I think that they're fun and they're neat and they're short little ones that are they bring to the game the whimsy. I think that was really big into it early on.
Yeah.
You see a lot of whimsy in the early modules that we don't.
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
little bit more lighthearted for these,
yes,
Feast of the
Oh, yeah, I love
Gobbler,
the cover. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Orcus.
My blight of the Moonglow Glade, it didn't have as much whimsy in hindsight, and I was like, I really wanted to put more fun into it. And when Edwin came and asked me to do this one, I was just driven. And it surprised me actually how energized I was to write this. I was staying in near daily email contact with Edwin just because of the sheer excitement that I had for what I was writing. And I kept emailing him going, look what I did in this room. And I was writing like a room a day. And I was sending these things to Edwin like almost every day. And he thankfully was also enjoying it. And he's like, we don't normally work like this, but I'm going to go ahead and start giving you some editorial info as we're doing this. I was like, yeah, do it. And I started, editing my rooms, live as he was talking to me. And I'm like, all right, hey, I updated this. What do you think of this? And I would redo a room and send it back out. And I was just like writing a room a day. And I knocked this thing out in less than 3 weeks. And I got the entire thing written.
Wow.
No,
And I
it was
never
done
moved that fast.
way, way earlier than the last time we did Christmas one. And everyone was real excited about it too because he had talked to me about it. And I was just real pleased with it. And I think what makes it great is that I think Susie nailed the layout on it as well. So it's going to be, it really is it'll be a perennial seller. And I mean, I say that that's my job. Part of it is to make sure we write things that sell. This was going to sell every year, I think, because it just got all the correct components to it. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited we'll be delivering it. We're going to get it to the printer way earlier than we expected. Trying to get this to everybody's house by Christmas, though we promised a February delivery of the print module. We're doing everything we can, our damnedest, to get it out the door early. We're printing one set of books this week coming up. And I think
my God.
we'll go in the second set. We're going to do our best to get that to everybody ordered it on time. But that depends on a lot of things. That's a lot of the confluence of a lot of lucky events. But
sure.
PDF will be out next week, and so it's going to be a good deal. I can't wait.
I can't wait. I'm really, really proud of this module. I really tried to bring in the whimsy that I felt like I missed the mark on maybe a bit. The Blight on Moonglow Glade felt so real.
But it wasn't. I think the Arbor Day one you did great. You did great on it because I think that Arbor Day does not give me as much of a whimsy feel as Christmas does. Arbor Day is actually about caring for trees and being like
and that one was very
woodchucks. Woodchucks could have been the enemy. Just masses of dire woodchucks.
Dire badgers, but I think it's a wonderful adventure. You did a really nice job on it. I'm pleased to be publishing it. I'm glad it's in all three versions of all the main books that we sell for Pathfinder 1, Swords of Wizardry, and 5e. And I think that they will all find it good because it did translate very well to all three. And so that's a really good sign. So, and the people who did the conversions and stuff really enjoyed it too. So.
Yeah, I've had an opportunity to talk to a couple of folks in Discord on the Frog Chat nights, and I'm super excited for this. I can't wait.
So
it's doing really well. It's still on Indiegogo, so I think it's got 2 days left.
Yeah, we're gonna get there. Just hold on. That's in a later segment, Zach.
Okay.
You never read your notes for the show. I make Zach little cue cards and everything and mail them to him every week.
He gives me a link and says show up.
And
this is
he never reads his notes.
He's lied to me since he told me Frog God Games never got along great. And that was 5 years ago. He's been a liar ever since.
Has it only been 5 years? Doesn't it seem longer?
It does.
Okay, now I got a serious question for John. Was it you or Edwin that came up with the theme for Orcus on 34th level?
The
Who
theme,
yeah, who brought that title? Because that's a very
oh,
famous Christmas movie.
that's all me.
They're
Okay.
That's
very
all
good.
me.
When I saw the title, I was really jazzed.
Yeah.
Yep,
I
that's
absolutely
all
love that
me.
Christmas movie.
Yeah,
And
in
so,
fact, because when Edwin and I were in, the title is one of the very first things that came to me. Like normally you might write and then
Yeah.
title it later at the end. The title almost came first. And because he was like, yeah, we want to do a sequel. Don't know what we would call it. And I was thinking that it needed to be, a play on a uh, traditional Christmas
Oh yeah.
title. And I was trying to think of what title would be iconic enough that if I was to goof with it, it would still be recognizable. And I thought of 34th level instead of 34th Street. So
no,
Orcus
I
on
think it's great.
34th level.
No, and I really just think that if you look at the cover that's on the screen right now, you can see. I think that it actually lends itself to a really cool like typography design, and I
Yeah.
think that being such a advanced, you're fighting like the toughest of the tough, right? And so 34th level gives an indication that we don't do a lot of high level modules because they're
Mhm.
hard to do, but I
Yeah.
think it makes it fun. So
Yeah. In fact, because I was in daily communications with Edwin as I was building this, there's there's a couple of rooms, but there's one room in particular I stalked, and Edwin's first reaction was, "Are you sure you want to put something like this in here?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, yeah," because as I was looking at the map, I'm like, if they need to, they can always just go around and find a different way to get deeper in. They don't
You're
have
new
to
to this
go through
game, aren't
here.
you?
I'm like, I'm definitely putting this in here. And they're like, oh boy, that's gonna be tough. I was like, yeah, it's gonna be tough. That's awesome.
it's 34th level, man.
I have had a number of people that have read some of the stuff. Like when I have an idea, I give it to one of my friends. What do you think of this? And they've said similar things like that. And they always go, "Are you sure you want to do this and have this effect?" And I'm like, "Not even a little bit. You tell me.
Yeah.
And how is it?" Yeah, I have very much the opposite effect. Is like, I don't know. Do I not want to do this? Is this too much? Too little? I don't know what kind of spectrum we're on.
Well,
I thought about I really put a ton of thought into everything that goes on in this map. I when I do fantasy adventures like this, typically, especially if it's a dungeon crawl, as opposed to an overland. Um, I always want to start with the dungeon, right? So I went and found, because I'm so bad at drawing and doing the cartography for my own dungeons. I went and found an open license Dyson logo map, which
Hmm.
we credit and thank Dyson for his generous maps that he provides. And but the map I found was too big, so I had to cut out about a third of it, or a quarter or so. And then once I got it trimmed down to the right size, I just went to town, and I thought about every aspect as far as the ecology, like the creatures that are in here and why would they be here, and what keeps them, do any of them wander, I mean, I thought about all of that, and the way every room relates to each other, um
So
and the
not
fact
the
that
Rappanathic design school.
and the fact that it is owned and run by a demon. And what would a demon do in their home, just for demonic kicks? So
yikes.
Zach, please enlighten us.
No, I think it's awesome. I think that one of the one of the benefits of being in a hobby that's this old is you can draw the best things from back in the day, and then add the stuff that makes it seem, or I don't want to say organic, but real, in a way that it's. I find that some of the best stuff that's written is stuff that when you setting aside the goblins, the orcs, the trolls, the traps, and everything, like why does this exist? And then what happens in there? What happens when there's too much trash in there? Like what happens? Is there a whole biome of creatures that that do their part in a little ecology? Because underworlds are an ecology. And so
yeah.
when I wrote the one big one that I wrote that got us all started for me, I had to create creatures just to make sure that they were like basically trash creatures. So they would make sure that they would go through and collect the refuse, and so you don't have 20 years of adventures like sit laying around. It actually would pick up stuff and put it on its back or get rid of it or eat it or whatever. So it would make it like a real circle, right? So you would have each part of the a biome would be there, and that was important to me. It was important to me. You had places where air could come in and out, and so you would have an actual reason you could still breathe non-stagnant air, and a reason that you would interact with the world. And I think that stuff is important. And they didn't used to do that at all because it was all just boom, here you are, here's 4 keys and 4 different planes, and it was cool.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we grow with it, so we take the good parts, but we make it better by making it, I don't know, seem a little more. I don't want to say believable because that's not the right word, but it feels a little more real. How's that?
Yes, it feels appropriate for the reality that those characters are living
Exactly.
in. And Orcus on 34th level, it does have one area is my love letter to the Tomb of Horrors.
No.
Bang. Yeah,
Oh,
I
oh,
and it's probably not the aspect, I think everyone would be thinking of the big green mouth, but it's the long corridor. I love the long corridor. So
Yeah,
some people love it so much they put it in their own adventures.
yeah.
that's Skeeter Green. The Outlaw Skeeter Green. No, it's good stuff, and it's funny that we are in a hobby that has its classics that we can play off of them, and we all know them.
Yep.
It's really it's unique amongst almost every other games things. Board games aren't designed that way. You can
Mm-mm.
have ones that are reflective or reminiscent of another type of game, but they don't actually directly. It doesn't seem the same for that way. This is much more to me like novels in that regard. That you can have a real like a celebration of something in a novel you really enjoy, but you take it, make it your own in a way that you can't really do to me for me in board games. And but once again, I'm not a board game author, so for all I know, I'm completely lying, and they're gonna all come kick my ass.
Oh, I'm sure of that. Some of the Wizards of the Coast board games are run very much like adventures. I mean, obviously, they have it's a railroad. They have a starting and an ending because it's a board game. Um, but there's quite a bit of reusability in those. I mean, it's not at all what you're talking about there, but they are moving a little more into that genre for board games. They're making it a little more sandboxy.
Well, I think that we can all D&D has become a phenomenon a second time that no one I think expected. I didn't expect it. When I started writing Whisper and Venom, I was just excited that people played old D&D. Now, at the fact that you look around, like everywhere I go, I bought D&D socks with Larry Elmore's painting on it. I got these little clips to go in your
Hey,
bag.
don't bring up additions. We don't want to lose our nerd cred
Oh,
by posting an opinion.
this is like me buying things that say Dungeons and Dragons on them, like Halloween costumes. I have Halloween costumes I bought. I mean, at the spirit store.
Oh
I mean, come on,
man,
man.
I so wanted you to whip out the crab costume.
Nope, no crap costume. No, but honestly, it's like that stuff is available now in a way that even back when it was super popular, it wasn't there. And
Yeah.
I think
Right.
it's a cultural phenomenon that now we share it, and we share it in a way that's actually very cool. And I get tired of edition world like Skeeter was just bringing up, because fundamentally, it's a game about killing monsters, and we all do it, and we do it in a way that can bring us together much more than I think almost any other kind of genre does. And be able to go back to it and talk about it and do it at so many levels because the barrier to entry is pretty low to make really cool things. And I just think it's a unique hobby that I'm glad to be a part of. And I think that there are very few places I think you could do a module like you did, John, that I think that would be as not only acceptable, but as like celebration worthy because it's such a fun concept that can kind of cross genres. And like computer games are too much work, and I think board games are just hard, expensive to manufacture. But we're able to take these kind of risks to get people to play them. They can play them and enjoy them in their own way.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the hobby.
if you can get 4 to 8 or whatever of your friends to hang out as a cohesive group, that's probably pretty fucking healthy right now.
Yeah,
I mean, if you can
kidding.
block out everything else and be, a pointy-eared magic user, then you do that. That that sounds fantastic. I'll play Pony Finder. I'll do it. I'll be a unicorn. Please, somebody make me a unicorn.
You won't. Oh my God. Okay, so
This is where my mental break happens.
it is, but it's okay.
Clearly.
This happens every
Yeah.
time we're on the show. Don't worry about it, John.
Yeah.
It's not you. It's not you. It's him.
Yeah. Moving
John,
along.
John, what else have you worked on besides game stuff? What other stuff have you written?
Well, so besides Orchestra on 34th Street, most of my writing credits are with Call of Cthulhu. I've done a lot of Cthulhu work. I've done some small things
I
for
have
myself.
whole like file cabinet shelves of work with your name on it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've worked with Goodman Games. I've worked with Chaosium, um, Golden Goblin Press. Goodman Games was a lot of fun. Goodman Games is where I kind of broke out professionally into the industry. At the time, they had a license to do Call of Cthulhu modules, so they had a line called Age of Cthulhu.
Had them all.
Oh, awesome. Wonderful. Yeah. I loved it when that series came out, and I was inspired to write to Joseph Goodman. And I said, they weren't soliciting for writers, and so I just, didn't know any better, so I just went ahead and wrote to him anyways. And I was fortunate enough that he thought my idea was interesting enough to go ahead and support. So I ended up writing and creating the 7th, 8th, and 9th Age of Cthulhu modules. So all
Awesome.
of those three. But then while I was, kind of in the Goodman Games stable of writers, I've also written a couple of small Dungeon Crawl Classic things. I did a kind of a Cthulhu centric DCC Halloween holiday module in 2017.
Oh,
Shadow Under Devil's Reef.
yes. Because I just got that on Drive Through RPG.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you. So that was a ton of fun. And so while I was doing those writings, I kind of started my podcast. I'm a podcaster as well, so I'm a co-host on the Miskatonic University podcast, and which is pretty much centralized on horror and Lovecraft related role playing
Very
games.
familiar.
Know it?
So did that. I still do the podcasting, but because of the podcast, I was able to kind of, that was my calling card to get my foot in the door and do things with Chaosium and with Golden Goblin Press and stuff
Nice.
like that.
What's your favorite Lovecraft story?
My favorite Lovecraft story is Color Out of Space.
That's a good choice. I like
Love
it.
that
That is
story.
a solid choice.
Yeah, it's a really, really good story. It's a great alien story because the
Yeah.
creature is so inhuman,
Right.
and its effects, its biology on our biology is just so, they're oil and water, they don't mix, and so it completely corrupts human DNA and in any of our earthly DNA stuff. So it's really cool. I love it.
So, did you see the Nick Cage movie?
I did. I
What do you
really
think?
liked it. Yeah, I liked it a lot.
I
liked
didn't
it a
love
lot.
it.
It
So
was
there
meant to be
was
a little
a-
more modern.
There was a previous movie. It was German.
Die Farbe.
Yeah, that one is the one that spoke to me as a representation of the story. I mean, granted, it should have been in color because that's literally written into the title, so it's hard in a black and white movie to get that across. And I
haven't
did.
seen it though, but I thought it wasn't. I thought, spoiler, I thought it got colorized at the end.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't recall.
Maybe it did. Anyway, I really like that one. But the Nick Cage movie, the way they used color, I thought that was really fantastic.
I did too.
Because it was kind of a different palette than what I
Mhm.
was expecting. I mean, I kind of expected purple, but not like that necessarily. So, yeah, it was interesting. I didn't think it was great. I didn't think, but his stories don't really translate well to film. I mean, if you're describing unimaginable horror, it's kind of hard to then imagine it.
Yeah.
I actually thought that the silent film version of the Call of Cthulhu was pretty interesting. I thought they handled that in a way that was new to me. I'm not sure that it was not the definitive version of Call of Cthulhu, but I thought I really enjoyed it. I
Yeah,
thought
I thought it was great too.
it
I thought it
was
was great too.
it was very much a because of the time period we're talking about. I think it really played to that. I enjoyed the way they did the madness in the scenes and showing the in the asylum. That was really well done. And they had like a short like clip about the Mountains of Madness, like they're showing the Arctic. And I was like, oh, I wish they'd make that. That would be really
Oh,
good.
please,
Yeah.
please, please.
Well, I know,
There's
wasn't
rumors
that
about
Clive?
that again.
It wasn't that a who was it the big horror
Yeah,
director?
Guillermo del Toro
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was going to
is
do it
a
right.
huge Lovecraft fan. He has a life-size Lovecraft mannequin in his study at his home.
Well, that's not creepy.
You're right. Yeah, and the
Oh
mannequin
yeah,
is like
it's
holding a book, like he's flipping through a tome and kind
Wow.
of looking up as if you just walked in on him, like, who are you? And
but
uh,
the rumors of him making that movie popped up again. Like
Did they?
he's getting
yeah,
closer to being able to do it. I don't know what the holdup is, but
Well, I think Mountains of Madness is actually filmable. I think a
I
lot of
think
the
so
stories
too.
are not, but I think
th-
Mountain Madness is.
there's a lot you could do with that,
Yeah.
I think.
No, and I listen to audiobooks for Lovecraft a lot. I get in trouble with my wife doesn't like because I actually will sometimes have bad dreams. I know it shocks you, but I'm at the point now where I'll collect the different narrators. So like a Wayne June's my
Yeah.
favorite, but there are other ones I really like too. But I find that the Lovecraft stories are they really do have a depth to them that's not appreciated for what it was written for. I think pulp magazines at the time, we don't appreciate just how much of the literature it was. So we sort of describe magazines as we throw away things, right? But at the time, that was where some of the best authors were doing their best work, right? So
Yep.
it's
Yep.
crazy. Times change, and yet those are. I
Well,
would love to have an original one of those magazines.
oh
Just
my
to see
God.
one. I've never seen one.
Yeah,
So
that would be fantastic. That's one of the things that's kind of a cop out sometimes about Lovecraft, and my only real complaint that goes through the whole mythos is some of the authors lean hard into the unimaginable terror and they don't really describe anything. You know, they leave it too much up to the interpretation of the reader,
yeah.
which is kind of like a that was lazy. That just means you don't really have to be descriptive.
Do
You
you
know,
write fiction, John? Do
Say that again.
you ever write any fiction?
I have not. Somehow, I have not mastered character voices. I don't know
you
how
didn't write that
to.
thing in the bathroom about Zach? That wasn't you?
Limericks I can
I
do.
wrote
Okay.
that. It's autobiography.
Yeah.
No.
I just so I still have a mental block, I guess. I haven't been able to figure out how to actualize characters and bring them to life um in either third person descriptive or in their own first person spoken, voice, right? I have a hard time, imagining that. So
Is that a goal for you? I think.
it
But I
is.
found your writing, the Blood and Book Blade, to be very reminiscent of something that you could see. You could see a translation. The quality of the writing itself, I could see moving into something that was more of a novel, just because of skill. That's why I asked.
Oh, well, thank you. It is a goal. I do want to try and reach for that. Secret. Here's peek behind the curtain. I have my college degree is in art. I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in illustration,
Wow.
and I cannot draw worth a lick. How I got that
Me
degree
neither.
yeah, how I got that
That is
degree is
awesome.
anybody's guess. I think it was just sheer persistence. Like I'm too stupid to actually, drop out and get a degree that I really am probably more qualified for. So I have a BFA, and I don't have the opportunities to like draw on a daily basis. And so, but I, I still have those muses, right? That speak to me, and I'm like, I used to want to try and express myself in art, in pictures, but now I've, about in the year 99 2000, I pivoted and decided to start, using that same muse, but now start doing it in writing. And so I guess the closest I've ever gotten into writing, uh, you know, prose, is from 2000 to about 2009. Me and my best friend, we worked as a writing team, as partners. We wrote comic books. So I have not a bunch, but I have some small press indie, really small press indie comic books, under my belt. The one that I'm most proud of is, Archeon, which was, my buddy and I, when we were in the army, together. We served together in Germany, and then after we both got out of the army, we went to college together, and so we were roommates again in college, and we played D&D in Germany. We played D&D in college, and so we took all of our D&D adventures, shaved off all the serial numbers, renamed the world Archeon, and we retold our D&D adventures as these comic book adventures, but we had to like reimagine everything because we were like, oh, we don't want the Wizards of the Coast people coming after us, right? um, which we were too small for anybody to come after us. But so I did comic books for a while, and but because I was getting back into the gaming really heavy, I was like, man, I really want to, write for these games that I'm playing. And so I started off in 2009 entering in some contests that Chaosium was running at the time.
Yep.
And I lucked out, and I was, one of the, because it wasn't just one winner. They were picking like 6 to 8 winners and then
Those are those
publish.
little black books they were doing.
Yeah, those were the monographs.
Yep.
And so I would enter in those contests, and I would win the ones that I would enter, and I was published in like 4 of those monographs. And then from there, that's when I branched out and started doing, the Age of Cthulhu stuff with.
They got some really nice stuff in those. I mean, I think that those were well done. I wish that there was time for a lot of. I think that there's a lot of talent that can be seen if they're given the opportunity to be shown. And Kiasen did a real nice job of doing that. So.
And
I
they've
signed
done
up
that
for
again.
every one of those and never even got a call back.
Don't be bitter, Skeeter
So
Green.
I'm not going to be bitter at John because of that now.
Because he's better than you, dude, doesn't mean anything.
And I just assumed that actually, I was only winning because everybody who entered won. I didn't think there were that many
fuck
people
you,
entering.
Hook. No, everyone didn't win. There were some distinct losers on that list.
Do you still read comics at all?
Oh my God, yes. I just went to the shop today. What did I do with my comics? Oh, they're at the other side of the room. Yeah, I collect and read primarily, sci-fi and horror. I used to do a lot of superhero stuff, but I've kind of backed off, from superhero. So I'm doing a lot. I've gone back to indie comics, so I'm doing,
I think a lot of people have done
a lot
that.
of small press, and Dark Horse, does a lot of great stuff.
Yeah.
Boom Studios does a lot of great stuff.
I'm familiar with most of those. I don't read comics that much, but it's an adjacent industry. But I think the superhero stuff is kind of backed off because I don't think the major companies have given it. They don't pay as much attention as they used to the story quality, the comic level. So they make so much money in the movies. My God.
Oh,
there's
let me tell you.
so many fucking titles. I mean,
Yeah.
I was on Comixology because I was, thumbing through. I was looking for something to read. I got to the Batman section
Yeah.
and all the different titles. Jesus
So
Christ.
I live in Kansas City. Kansas City is a weird comic hub. There's a lot of creators, professionals in Kansas City, and I'm actually,
it's the
friends.
barbecue, isn't it?
It probably is the barbecue. I'm actually, friends with, Jason Aaron, he's had an amazing run on Thor. Some of the Thor movies have integrated his storylines that he's been doing. So yeah, I love comics to this day.
Okay, we have a question from the Peanut Gallery that ties right in from one of our favorite peanuts, Levi Combs.
Oh boy.
John, what are the top 3 comics you're reading right now?
Yeah.
I am reading Miskatonic. It just started from Aftershock Comics. And it is amazing. Actually, if you hold just for no, it's in a box.
Cool.
I can't get to it.
Oh,
But Miskatonic is a amazing comic. I love. I actually really like Star Trek Year Five. It's a comic book series that continues from the original. Because I'm a
mission,
big
5-year mission, whatever.
yeah, the original 5-year mission with
Oh.
Kirk, Spock, McCoy. I'm a big Trekkie, and so I'm loving
You
the
hit
art.
like every single nerd like bit, man. You're a Renaissance nerd. Honestly, comics, Star Trek. You know, you got the Lovecraft, you got D&D. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
you
it's
really,
awesome.
that's pretty impressive. Skeeter, we just don't have that kind of stuff going for us. We're just too focused.
Too
That
focused.
that is absolutely not the case for at
And then
least one of us.
my third comic right now. Man, it's hard to pick three, but um, it just ended. But Alan Moore did a series called Providence, and Providence is awesome. I'm loving Providence.
I haven't read them. I they're hovering there waiting for me to get, but I've heard very good things about that.
It's super good. It is X-rated, but still super good.
It's Alan Moore.
It's Alan Moore.
I mean, I don't think you can dilute that.
No, the comics, especially the indie comic stuff, I think is where a lot of story stuff is starting to happen. Or
Mhm.
been happening. I think it doesn't filter up as much because of the mainstream stuff with the movies, and I don't think that the direction that Marvel and DC are going is as heavily story oriented as we're seeing in the other stuff. And I think it's a great time to be into it. I don't know if it's a great time to be creating it, but it's a great time to be into it. For
Yeah,
for
I
the,
agree. It's a renaissance for comics right now, I think.
yeah, I just hope that they don't go broke before.
Well,
That's a hard business for
yeah,
them.
I think it's a renaissance for the smaller indie type
Yeah,
people doing self-publishing and getting their vision out the way they want to do it. It's super hard, but I mean, like DC and Marvel are cutting titles out of their catalog left and right because they just can't. They're not selling enough.
Well, um, yeah.
Oh, do it!
There's a
Do
lot
it!
more
Do
to
it!
it.
Do it! Do it!
yeah, you can't hesitate
So
this year. You have to go ahead
Yeah,
and
yeah,
say it.
no,
so DC, I know a little bit. I don't have a total inside knowledge, but DC Comics, they have been dramatically cutting their titles, but
And
it
the
has
staff.
nothing. It has nothing to do with sales, other than the fact that the current Warner Brothers heads who absorbed DC Comics, they prefer the media money, and so they just assume that the nerds will follow like rats following Pied Piper, and so they want to convert and go digital comics only. That will never happen. Yeah, the fandom and the industry is too invested in having tangible things, but you're going to start seeing, because DC has already advertised that they're going to start doing this because they're testing the waters. They're going to start putting out these giant size mega mags, and so you're going to have like 5 different issues in a single binding, and because European comics and Asian comics do that already, but that has never been a format that has been popular in American comics. And um, I have heard on the grapevine that DC, la Warner Brothers, is trying to get rid of as close as they can in their if they had it their way, it'd be zero printed published comics, and it would just be digital only and other media. But I think as DC mistakenly is stepping away from the monthly, comic book mag, as independent publishers increase um, or if they are able to take advantage of this void that's occurring and increase the number of books that they offer, number of titles that they offer, I think that we're going to see small press companies really do well, and other companies that are already positioned to do really well, like Image Comics and Marvel. I think they're just going to continue to do better because as these fans go out there on a weekly basis to their weekly comic shop and spend money, if there are fewer DC comics for them to buy, they will turn around and spend that money on other neighboring books that are there physically, because Warner Brothers is gambling that those fans are going to say, "Oh, you know what? I'm just going to spend my money digitally with
I
Bitcoin."
can't get my Batman, so I don't have any other options when I have thousands of options in the store.
Yep. Oh, I'm going to still buy Batman, but I'm going to buy digital Batman, and I don't think that's going to happen. So we'll see.
That might
DC
have
will
some,
learn a lesson, I think.
for a lot. I think a lot of times people think, well, younger artists will do it. Younger artists is broke. People forget that the people spending the money are guys our age.
Yeah.
They spend a lot of it. So.
Yep.
Well, that's interesting. That's actually very cool. So, you got comics, you got sci-fi, you like to read like Lovecraft and horror stuff, like to write game things. Like, do you play video games for Christ's sake? I'm trying to hit every one of them.
Video games is my black hole.
Oh, there you go.
I do not. I don't have the dexterity or something. I feel like I spend more time like looking at the controller or the keyboard and not at the screen.
That's
and
totally me.
there's a total disconnect. I love board games. When the pandemic hit, a good friend of mine who lives in Liberty, not Liberty City, but Liberty, a friend of mine, he was like, "Hey, John, you need to get Steam and get
Oh,
the
geez.
tabletop simulator."
Oh, yes.
And I was like, "Okay." He goes, "We'll play board games, but we can do it from home and we'll do it via tabletop simulator." So we did, and we were playing this card game that was pretty simple, and it was a fun card game. Um, and I've played it in real life, and it's way more fun in real life. But with this tabletop simulator, the camera, to move the camera around, or the focus of what you're trying to do, you had to like use the keyboard. And I'm such an idiot. I'm like, what am I doing here? He goes, "It's just ASWD," and I'm like, those are keys on your keyboard. I don't know what the frick that means. What are you talking about? "No, that's how you move in video games." I go, "Dude, I don't play video games. I don't know what you're talking
Oh
about."
boy, there's
The ASWD's all lit up right here.
Oh Jesus. Yeah. So I'm like, "Get off my lawn," and I can't move shit. And so I've played one game I spent $20 on this thing. I've played one goddamn game on this Steam tabletop simulator, and then I just said, "Dude, you guys, you're gonna have to just play without me. I can't figure this out." And then
I respect that. I have thousands of video games I don't play. I'm with you.
my brother, who he travels to Kansas City on occasion for his work, so he was just here yesterday actually, and he's total video games. He's got a video game computer with these controllers or something, and he goes, "I bought the Call of Cthulhu video game, which was licensed by Chaosium. It's supposed to be like, playing the role-playing game, but on the computer." He goes, "I totally bought this for you to play, John." And he knows I don't play video games. I'm like, I don't play video games. Why did you do that? He goes, I feel like if you play this, you'll really like it, and you'll start to play video games.
No, I played it. I bet you hated it. I bet you hated it.
Yeah. So I told him, I said, I go, "You go set up the game and get it ready. I'm gonna get the kids ready for bed." So I'm getting the kids ready for bed, and by the time I get up into my office, he's got this sour look on his face. I'm like, "Dude, what's going on?" He goes, he's already bought the game, mind you. He goes, "I'm just now reading the reviews, and apparently people don't like the game. So now I'm going to have you play a game that most reviewers don't like, and I don't think
you probably would like it, but I don't think you would. I played it.
Yeah, I played it. We played chapter 1, and I was like, it's all right. It's fine. It wasn't a role-playing game."
Well, I tell you what, I can believe in that. I'm with you. Actually, I own lots of video games. I own ones that are a lot of fun. And my other hobby outside of this is virtual reality headsets. And so I really like those. I don't actually play against people very often because I'm terrible. I'm just the worst. But I'll play games like I play
You mean
Flight
you
Sim.
don't want to kill a 12-year-old kid? Which is
I
why
don't
I
want to
never
kill
play online
I
games?
don't want to shoot my mother. I can't stand that kind of stuff. I don't like online games with people I don't know, so it limits me a lot. But I do like the headsets a lot. So
My
I find that fascinating, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So
my friend in Liberty who talked me into buying that Steam thing, he also has an Oculus, right? So when I've been to his house, he's like, "Oh, you got to try the Oculus. You got to do the VR." So I put all the crap on, and I'm in VR, and he goes, and there was I don't know, there's some sort of video game with these robots, like jumping out of the sky, and you're fighting all the robots.
Space Pirate Trainer, I know which one it is.
Yeah, but it looks amazing, but you have to punch them and then pick up guns. Well, the hand controllers you're using, I kept picking up the guns and then I would just let go of them. And he goes, "Why are you letting go of the guns?" I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm trying and nothing's working,
Yeah.
and I'm just dropping guns and the robots are coming and killing me. He goes, "All right, you're dead again." I said, "Look, here, that was fun. Here, you have this." So
I understand clearly. I just was curious because you have hit bullseye on every other nerd point, so I knew I'd find one if I tried hard enough.
you did success. Let's go back to Dune. No.
Yeah.
Well, we were just talking about tech, so I seamlessly moved us into our Kickstarter profile
There we go.
section,
Oh,
and it's our good friend technologist Jim Wampler.
I just got
dude, I love Jim.
I got Scientific Barbarian 1. It was worth it. That's one
Oh yeah, I have it on my nightstand. I read it before I go to sleep.
Oh, that's all. I suffer from a acute case of poverty, so I feel like I can't afford to do anything. But my kids keep me in poverty, is what it is. So
And I don't have any kids, so that's
See, like, look at this. One of these crazy pages on here.
look
Yeah.
at
awesome.
That's my name.
It is.
Yay!
Hey,
that. No,
yeah, Jim Wampler is awesome. I love
Yeah.
that guy.
He is
He
the
is.
best.
He is
yes,
the
he
best.
does a very nice job, and I was really impressed with. Oh, no one's going to sue him over that one.
I
No.
may have paused on that one a little bit too long.
No, but I thought Scientific Barbarian came out very well. It was a clever title, but when he actually delivered, I was pleased with the work a lot. I thought it was
Yeah.
quite
No, it's
quite the
great.
thing.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
And he has a stable of awful article people like myself and Levi Combs.
I was going to guess it was you.
Yeah.
Levi Combs is awful.
So,
He's awful.
you know, the magazine is sunk if they don't get a higher shelf of writer, because digging
'Cause-
holes. All right. All right. Let's go through this.
What we got?
Yell
We got
out
this
when you
degree.
see something you like.
All right.
What's the Oracle?
There you go. What is the Oracle?
It is a role play magazine. Let's take a look at this. Oh, it's already
Ooh.
done. Oh, it just
Huh.
finished.
Like
Like
minutes ago?
just finished right now.
Well, no one can support that. Move on, Skeeter Green.
Okay.
God damn it! Because that one looks good, man.
Yeah, check out the Oracle. Yeah, it
I'll-
just
I'll-
dropped off.
Yeah, I'll spend Skeeter's money on that.
Oh man, that was insane.
Well, Alyssa was showing me one today about Napoleonic miniatures. And
No, I saw that.
did you?
Is it? Nope, that's not it.
What else we got? What's it? Fantasy Trip Hexagram. Is that Phil Reed's?
What are you talking about?
I'm looking at your.
Yeah, the lower right hand corner.
Oh, my brain hadn't gotten there yet. I was still at the Lost Biolab. I hadn't moved one over yet.
Nice.
Warehouse 23.
Yep, that's for me.
Digital taxidermy. Some people are so clever. Oh, here's Uncle Skeeter's Kickstarter tip of the day.
Okay.
If
Uncle Skeeter's
you're
tip.
going to have a clever Kickstarter name that is not actually your name, please have your email make sense. So if you got some weird screen name and some email that doesn't sound like it really exists, there's got to be some way to contact you for your books. most of my international backers.
Thank
What
you,
is,
Peter.
hold on, go back up a little bit,
I'm
Skeeter.
done.
What is RPG stationary?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. Because this is stationary
No,
for
it looks like
RPGs.
no. But is it like pull off like a glue, the glue on the spine and the on the?
Yeah,
I like it.
I mean, they're notepads.
I like it.
It's not a terrible idea.
It's a great
That's
idea.
not a terrible idea. That's actually pretty awesome.
That
The Sword of
spells
Wizard box set has
notepad.
one of those in there.
I mean, I love, oh, damn it, get over here. I love for Merc Borg that the character sheets are all, damn it, where am I?
Aren't
It's
they
this,
index cards?
no,
Yeah.
it's this pad. It's,
Oh,
you know,
nice.
they're glued here at the top, and you know, got a whole pad of them. You
We put
just,
a pack of those in the Swords and Wizard box set. Now we're working with Regent to get them correct, and it's pretty nifty.
Yeah, I mean, this is
All right.
cool.
That's cool. What else we got, Skeeter Green? I like that one. Did you ever get your stuff from Shitty Werewolf?
who
What?
you ask?
Remember we backed the Kickstarter for Shitty Werewolf game?
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
No, we're not ever gonna see that.
It was
I mean,
aptly
it was
named.
yeah, it was just
Shitty
the point of that. I mean, if he does produce that magazine and send it out, I'm just gonna be like a pig in shit. That's gonna be the best thing ever, because that was aiming high that somebody was gonna accomplish the bare minimum. I have no illusions that I'm actually gonna get any satisfaction from that backing.
All right, keep going down.
We got Mecha Bugs.
Mm,
What kind of stuff are you guys looking forward to getting for the holidays?
the holidays.
Do you have anything on order that's coming in that you think would get?
Well, I can tell you this is that my parents asked me what I wanted for Christmas. I wound up getting decorative rocks for my yard. I buy everything I want. One of the problems of being me for people buying gifts is look, this is what I collect. I collect foreign editions of Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh,
It's not
nice.
easy to find. My parents actually, for my birthday, got me a bunch of Chaosium stuff that was from Japan. But it gets harder and harder to find things to buy me. Okay, what do you got?
So this, since you said foreign, let's
Yeah.
see if I can get this in frame. I'm going the right way. This is a French Call of Cthulhu compilation
Nice.
Oh,
from Goodman Games's Age of Cthulhu.
Nice.
So
That's an oddball
inside this thing has got all inside it. It's got a scenario transatlantic terror that I wrote. It has God, it's all in French.
Would damn French people.
Dang French. But it basically has 4 adventures in it. 3 of them I wrote. One Brendan LaSalle wrote.
Oh, I know Brendan LaSalle. He owes me $5. No, I'm kidding.
I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry you know him.
Oh. Nice.
I just threw this window up for anybody concerned about last minute shopping sprees,
That's a good idea.
because look at that. Look at those sexy
Oh
covers.
yeah.
Oh boy.
They're
The
just
Science
delicious,
Wizard.
aren't they?
Well, I brought up the whole anything you've ordered and looking forward to for Christmas, because Zach, I have to thank you. It is due to you. It is due to Orcus on 34th level being paid for that I was able to pre-order from Gale Force 9 their entire Alien Glorious Day of the Core board game set.
Ooh, nice.
So it's the core game.
When did that show up?
It will show up according to the emails that I've been receiving by mid-December. So
nice.
And it'll be playable for 1 player and everything, so I can play it solo.
No, the sad thing is it's still important.
Yeah.
I hear you. No, Gale Force 9, except for the fact that they're soon the Wizards of the Coast, they make some really nice stuff.
really nice,
You
really
know,
nice.
I'm pleased with everything I buy from them. I'm pleased with a lot of company stuff. We're in a renaissance of fun things to do, and they're not all computer games. And I know that people swore up and down that tabletop would be dying in the early 2000s. They, well, who's going to want to do that? You can do all these things online. I think it's
Yep.
better than ever.
There
Okay.
is there's a tabletop store here in Kansas City that's really big. Tabletop. Their name is Tabletop Game and Hobby, and they are so confident in what um, the culture of board gaming is going to be post COVID that they are building right now. They have under construction a board game cafe that'll be right next door to them. So it'll be one of those restaurant and bars
Right.
where you also play board games in the
Yeah, those
bar.
themes.
Yeah.
Themes,
So
There's a couple of those up here in Seattle.
yeah, I mean, instead of
I
closing,
hope they're
they're
right.
opening.
I hope they're right because I think the whole pandemic has really played havoc on the retail outlets, on the retail stores for comics and games and everything else.
Yeah.
They don't have that much, you know, to back them up, and being closed down is just is miserable. But
Yeah, for sure. The small footprint guys who don't have a lot to invest, they're definitely, probably on a thin wire. But some of the shops, some of the larger shops with
no, I think
really
some are doing very
dedicated
well.
clientele, I think are going to make it.
No, I think they are, and I think that it's like anything. Like you lose the shops that just were marginal as best as they were. I mean, in terms of everything, to customer service all the way down. But the shops that are always good, I think, are going to come back bigger and better.
Yeah.
Right, build back better, as they say.
Yep.
So, well, already, Skeeter Green. I doing last stuff we're going to say towards the hour, because I want to say first of all, thank you to Mr. John Hook, not only for great adventures, but for good time, good talk.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I had a
You
great
out-nerded
time.
Me. I feel out nerded, Skeeter.
Oh yeah, no, we were definitely out nerded this episode.
It's the beard too.
That often does not happen, since
No.
Zach and my nerddoms, are a different Venn diagram, because you fucking Tolkien people.
Hey.
But
Back off, you wall proper.
but you just laid us to waste with
Yeah, it's
everything.
like, whoa, hey, yeah.
And I will allow you, if you want to wear it, you may wear the title of author.
There you go. Congratulations.
It looks good on you, King.
You need a crown.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you very much, John.
This has
Thank
been
you, guys.
John
I had a
Hook,
great
who
time.
just wrote
Yeah.
Orcus
Thank
on
you, Peter.
34th level. Check it out from Frog God Games. Don't be surprised if when you Google it, it's all in Chinese letters.
Damn right.
All right.
right.
Good night,
Thank you,
everybody.
everybody.